What's up guys, I'm Suman from Stein. So hashtag Boycott China is the trending topic everywhere, and that is due to many political reasons. But let's not get political here. So recently Sonam Wangchuk, an engineer who turned into an education reformer. So if you guys know Three Idiots, then obviously this movie was based on his life, mostly. So he made a statement on social media urging Indians to boycott Chinese goods, and this made headlines. He even released a second statement explaining why he wanted Indians to do it. So I'll leave links to articles about this in the description, so make sure you check them out. Anyways, with all this going around, we would have definitely thought what would happen if Chinese goods were boycotted. And moreover, since we all have a smartphone, and with most of them being Chinese, especially here in India, what are the alternate options that we have? So in this video, let's take a look at the list of non-Chinese smartphone brands that we have in India. So do we have enough alternate choices to make a shift? Let's find out. So before I talk about the non-Chinese smartphone brands, let us take a look at the Chinese smartphone brands that we have in India. And by the way, it doesn't matter if the smartphone brands manufacture in India. If it is Chinese, it will be in this list. So in this list of Chinese brands, we have Xiaomi, Poco, Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, Realme, Huawei, IQ, whatever you call that, Lenovo, Motorola, Meizu. So if I've missed any, please put that in the comments below. Now, some of you might be surprised that Motorola is in the list, but remember, Motorola was acquired by Lenovo, and Lenovo is a Chinese company. So hence, Moto is also in this list. So now that we know the Chinese smartphone brands that we have in India, let us dive into the non-Chinese smartphone brands that are in India. First up, we have the famous South Korean tech giant Samsung. I have to say, Samsung smartphones have matured so well that in 2020, I would definitely recommend a Samsung device to anyone. Samsung has tailored a lot of features to the liking of us Indians, and that's great. And especially their transition to One UI from the horrible TouchWiz really helped Samsung attract loads of attention. And ever since Samsung started competing in the budget segment with their M series of smartphones, they have definitely received a lot of attention. But not everything is perfect. So for example, Samsung's M series, S series and Note series of smartphones are great. But their A series lineup of mid-range smartphones definitely don't grab as much attention like OnePlus, Oppo, Realme or even IQ. The A series have great features, but there's still something lacking. But at the end of the day, Samsung sure has a lot of manufacturing power and resources to single-handedly compete in any price segment. And if this boycotting Chinese good thing ever happens, then Samsung would be the obvious choice for many. And I have to say, Samsung would be my first choice if anything of that sort happens. And even if people shift to Samsung, they will definitely not be disappointed. Next, we have Apple, an American brand which is another huge tech giant. So Apple is known for its premium products and expensive price tags. But when it comes to India, the prices are way higher than any other country. And this is due to heavy import charges. Now, Apple is definitely trying to pave its way into the Indian market by locally manufacturing products, and this has definitely lowered the costs of older iPhones like the iPhone 10, 10R, but newer models are still costly. Even the so-called budget iPhone SE is priced at 42,000 rupees, which is atrocious. Now, people who buy iPhones will keep buying them, and that's brand loyalty. Nothing wrong in that. But if a user has to make a shift to a non-Chinese smartphone, then Apple's iPhone definitely won't be the first choice for most. Their products are good, but not the price tag. The only way that Apple can compete in this huge market is to give users what they want, and in our case, proper pricing. Next up, we have Asus, and this here is a Taiwanese based company. Asus makes some really good smartphones, but these guys are underrated. They have never had a huge success like their laptop division has had. Their lineup of smartphones pretty much cover most price ranges. Some have really good specs and are very cheap. For example, the Asus Zenfone 5Z is the cheapest Snapdragon 845 smartphone that you can buy right now. You even have budget offerings like the Zenfone Max Pro M1 and Max M2, which keep dropping in price but are really good performers. Now Asus is also the maker of the ROG smartphone, a phone dedicated to gaming completely. So overall you have a very strong lineup of devices, and the strongest point of Asus smartphones is that their software is somewhat close to stock and is not flooded with useless features like they used to. So for anyone looking for a OnePlus replacement, this is the closest you can get. Now if Asus comes out with a new lineup of smartphones with really good hardware and with a clean software experience, they might have some potential buyers eagerly waiting to make the change. Moving on, we have the famous Nokia, a Finnish smartphone manufacturer. These guys have had a pretty bad time coping up with the smartphone market, and I think they're finally doing some catching up. So after switching to Android from Windows, their initial few years didn't gain much attraction, but now they are slowly trying to catch our attention with smartphones like the 5.3 and the 7.2. But to be honest, these don't have specs to aggressively compete against the competition, but their software experience is by far the best in this list. It is almost stock, and Nokia provides new OS updates even to their budget devices, making this ideal if you are planning to use it for a very long time. And as I previously mentioned, the only downfall with Nokia devices are the specs. Even the latest Nokia 7.2 runs on the Snapdragon 660, which is a freaking 3-year-old chipset and not an ideal choice in 2020. Now, people really love Nokia no matter what, but if they want eyes to be on them, then they definitely have to change a lot, especially their hardware. Hope that happens real quick. For this next one, I'll be talking about 3 smartphone brands together, because all these brands have faced the similar fate in the Indian market. So here we have LG, Sony and HTC. So 5-6 years back, these brands were like on top of their game. But due to lack of innovation and their stubbornness to change according to the market needs, they lost a lot of what they had earned. Now, LG still makes smartphones, but their smartphones releasing in India are no way good when compared to the competition, and same goes with HTC. In fact, I would go as far as saying HTC devices are, kind of worse than LG's. When it comes to Sony, they have kind of decent devices like the Xperia 1, but they don't sell them here in India. So I would say these 3 devices have a good chance of coming back up in the Indian market, but they need to provide proper hardware and software and price them properly. But until they do that, it's kind of hard to convince people to switch to them. Moving on, we have the Google Pixel, but in India you get only the Pixel 3a, and in my opinion it's just a decent smartphone with a lot of hype around the camera. And personally, I wouldn't recommend this just because it's Google. If you're making a switch and want a good camera, then buy this, or else please look somewhere else. Finally, we have Panasonic. Panasonic. And this here is a Japanese brand. They do have some smartphones with the Eluga series, being quite okayish, but these really are not a worthy purchase, and if Panasonic needs to make a stand in the Indian market, then they really have to go to the drawing board and change everything. Literally everything. So these are the non-Chinese smartphone brands that are available in India. So if you had come up till here in this video, you would have noticed that big brands like LG, HTC, Sony have failed to create a positive impression in this market, but they have the resources to successfully make a very good product, but they still fail to do that. And this video clearly tells how influential Chinese smartphone brands have been in India. They studied our market and gave us what we needed. The smartphones were not only affordable but were powerful at the same time. They have been literally entering all price segments, with most of them having a very high success rate. And even if all Chinese smartphone brands were to be boycotted, we as users have very few options to select from. Let me correct that statement. We have very few good options to select from. So there you go. Starting from Xiaomi and all the way up to the brand new iQOO, these Chinese smartphone brands definitely have made a huge impact in the Indian market and have changed the way we use our smartphones. So at the end of the day, it definitely is going to be a tough one to switch to a non-Chinese smartphone brand if Chinese goods were ever to be boycotted. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching, and this here is Suman signing off once again. Catch you later.